5, CCS. This is Mr. B, and we are going to be having a nice math lesson today. Or no, not math, science, my bad. It's going to be about diet and food, and that's going to be fun. First, I just want to bring you a few little details about the world, and thought it'd be good to just talk a little bit about the news. So I saw 2 articles in the news that I thought would be interesting to share. That aren't necessarily 100% coronavirus, and it just kind of reminds us that things go on even while the coronavirus is happening. So this should be sort of interesting, I think. Now, what's interesting here, I got 2 articles. It's about China and Russia. So these are just quick articles. The one in the Washington Post is, think we have military primacy over China, think again. So we all know maybe that the United States has the largest army in the world and is a pretty powerful military. But recent years, China has obviously grown quite a bit. And we can see that they're getting more and more powerful. At the end of this virus, again, China is always using every opportunity to grow more and more powerful. We're going to see how it looks. This opinion piece in the Washington Post is just giving a warning that China is growing much stronger and has actually been purposely developing its weapons to combat American strength. So while the United States is more focused generally, China has been specifically focusing on how to neutralize American military assets. So anyways, that's just kind of an interesting thing because it's something we should be aware of, because China is an authoritarian regime and is not interested in protecting democracy like the United States is. Now, that's not to say that the United States is perfect and that that China is always the bad guy in every situation, but China does have an atheistic government that is anti-God and often seeks to persecute Christians and undermines people's freedoms and rights as human beings. And China does a lot of pretty shady things, and so something that we should be aware of as they grow in strength and as they kind of take over a bit of dominance in certain areas of the world. That influence of an atheistic government will continue to rise. So it's something we should keep in mind, something that we should pray about, maybe especially for the people living in China, that they have to live with a government that actively seeks to do them harm. That should be in our prayers. Now, the next one is about Russia. Russia is another authoritarian regime, and I guess that'll be the theme for today, I suppose, that, these authoritarian regimes, we see them rising. This isn't necessarily something for fear. We trust in the Lord and that He has the ability to strengthen us and to be with us, and we don't necessarily look to an earthly kingdom. So as such, we're not necessarily bound to places like the United States or Canada or those. We do want to serve our country and to be good, honor the prime ministers and those put in charge of us, but we're not necessarily, our hope isn't found on this earth. So this isn't something to fear, but it's just something to be aware of so that we can pray and to be faithful to those who are living in those countries and those who are, and just everyone around the world, right? It's good to know what's going on. So the Russian article that I've read today is, thanks to sanctions, Russia is cushioned from the virus's economic shocks. So Russia has been sanctioned, which just means that they've been kind of isolated from the world's economy. At least the Western world has isolated them a bit, which does cause some economic strain, money strain on the Russians. And so they've been preparing for this and being quite fiscally conservative. So they've been keeping a good track of their money and not spending it frivolously. And so now that has led to a situation where during this virus, the Russians, at least economically, not to say health-wise, healthcare-wise, or other things, but on the economic sides of things, are actually quite well prepared for a virus. You see, while in Western countries, which have lots of, we're so blessed to live in a Western country in many ways, but our governments have been a bit frivolous in their spending a lot more than we have ever had the money to actually afford, and that's left us in situations where we don't have any money in reserve in case of ill fortune or a virus, right? So yeah, that's left us in a bad position where now we have to go further into debt, not just a little bit of debt, but quite a bit of debt to stay afloat and to keep everything working. Meanwhile, Russia, on the other hand, while they've been conservative with their money for a long time, they have actually built up a sizable savings account, basically, and they're now able to use that to help their country get through this without much of a hitch. Now, on the world scale, this does mean something, that while the Western world, which has been historically quite dominant, is reeling from yet another crisis, these authoritarian countries like Russia and China have been better able to weather the storm, which will end up meaning that they will probably have even greater influence after the virus is over. So yeah, it's something to stay aware of, something to pray about, and something to think about. Finally, I just wanted to talk about this little country called Ghana. And Ghana is a country in the Golden Coast of Africa, in Western Africa. I was watching a video the other day, and so I just wanted to bring you a little bit about Ghana. Ghana's capital city is Accra. 71% of their population at least professes to be Christian. What the caliber of that Christianity, or what degree they are actually Christian, is dependent. Africa's had a lot of, sort of a odd Christianity, to say the least, has gone out there, and so there's maybe some issues with what exactly they believe, but it's at least a professingly Christian country. So there's a lot of interesting things going on there. It's one of the wealthier countries in Africa, one of the better managed countries in Africa, and so it has an interesting thing. So the population is a bit better educated, a bit better, better secured, and their president recently spoke about how he desires to see his country free from foreign aid, and not necessarily that he was very careful to say that he's so grateful for all the aid that his country has received historically, but he wanted to see his country able to be a free country, not reliant on, as he said, the French taxpayer to help them, but reliant on themselves. And so there's a certain element where, yes, we want to be independent, and it's not bad to have aid. We have to be careful, to be humble, and to realize that we all need help, especially help with our Savior. But this idea of being able to have freedom, in a sense that as they are constrained they rely on aid from other countries, they also rely on those other countries to tell them exactly what to do. And so it would be, he's like hopeful that Ghana can start to chart its own path, and seek to have that sort of independence of a financially secure country. So that's from Ghana, and that's interesting. So now we'll go and look at diet, and I hope that we all had fun learning a little bit about the world.
Good. You have the right goods. We've been looking for more plasma guns. These ones are what model again?
FX101.
Oh, I love the XX101. They're great. Okay, guys. We can move on then.
Okay, so let's start looking at food and diet. So, here we are with food and diet. So we see a nice little picture of all our food. So this is just going to be a quick little presentation. We're just going to then talk about all that is important for you. So what is food and diet? Well, food is, we know now where food comes from, but why do we need it? A balanced diet, the right amount of water, and other nutrients keep all the systems in your body working the way they should. If you don't eat well, your body isn't going to work well. So we got to eat properly to fuel our body and to give ourselves the proper nutrients to go forward. So today we're going to look at nutrients, learn a bit about them, and discuss their importance. So, what are the nutrients? Well, there's about 6 nutrients. You have proteins, fats, and oils, carbohydrates, and so proteins are like meats and cheese, nuts, beans, fish, seafood. Oils are basically, and fats are basically in every food, but these kind of things have more fat. Avocados, bananas are fat, but by having fat doesn't necessarily mean that they are like fattening, which is kind of an important distinction, right? You can eat a ton of nuts and not, that doesn't like make you fat. Fats are something that your body actually converts stuff into fat to use as energy. So, and then there's grains, carbohydrates. They're also found in a variety of different things, but largely plant food, and largely in grains is how we normally get large part of our carbohydrates. And then we have minerals, which are in fruits, vegetables, milk, butter, and all that stuff. That's great. So lots of vegetables. And we have vitamins, which are also in your fruits and vegetables. And then finally, we have water. So let's go down to this little paragraph here. And so, so proteins we can see are found in fish, meat, cheese, nuts, beans. They help you grow and repair your muscles and other tissues. You have fats and oils almost in all foods. These guys keep your nerves and cells healthy and store energy for the body. Carbohydrates are in plant food, for example, grains, and these guys provide energy for your body. And fiber keeps your digestive system working nice and well. So you got to make sure you're getting all your fibers. And then vitamins, like they're found in fruits and vegetables, and they're important for the general health of your body. And then we have minerals, they're fruits and vegetables, and milk as well. These help your bones and other body systems. And then finally, water. Water is in like everything, but mostly, best way to get water is in water. So that's good to know. And these are necessary for the body to work in all sorts of ways, to carry waste out and to, just to basically get anything to function. You need water, right? And so, let's just go back here. And I think something really, well, actually, we can probably go forward. You see, the new health guide has changed a bit. So before, we had a guide that said grains were the most important, and then vegetables, and then milk and protein. Now they're finding that vegetables are the best thing and most important thing. And I know that's not what everyone wanted to hear. But vegetables are really good, and you can make really great meals with them. And fruits are too really important. So there's such a variety of vegetables. So actually, God, when He created the world, He actually gave us the green things and the plants to eat. And this is largely because God didn't want any death in the world originally. So sin brought in death, and but in the Garden of Eden, in paradise, we didn't have we didn't eat meat. We would eat only vegetables, because eating meat, intrinsically means that there's been death and something had to die for that. And God also said that we are allowed to eat meat, and that's great. And especially in the New Testament, we're able to eat anything. But there is an element that the desired idea in Eden was that nothing would be dying, and that death, that would be just vegetables that would be eaten. And you see it come up again in like other times in Scripture where the faithful choose to eat vegetables instead of meats that were not unclean meats. And vegetables are in fact really, really healthy for you. They're really good for you, so you can get strong on with your veggies. And there's an old show called Popeye now. There's lots of things with Popeye that aren't the best, but I ate spinach to get strong. So leafy vegetables, they have a vitamin called folate. And not having enough folate causes anemia or a low red blood cell count. So your red blood cells they're not enough of them, and then they won't be able to carry enough oxygen into your body. So that's no good. And so you need to eat all your greens to actually be a big, strong, healthy person. So make sure you're eating them. And then another thing is, remember, water is really important. If you don't drink enough water, you get dehydrated. That makes you tired and weak, and you can damage yourself. You can hurt yourself. And yeah, it's kind of like it's funny like how computers allow us this great metaphor, but or even cars or vehicles, right? You gotta give it the right fuel. So if any of your parents have maybe a motorbike or a snowmobile or something like that, you'll know that when we're dealing with those machines, we actually put in higher quality fuel. And this is because we, in a sense, we want those machines to last longer, especially with two-stroke engines. You want to put a better fuel in there to keep it cleaner. And it's similar with us, right? We also, as you saw with our cells earlier in the year, with all those videos, that we also have a lot of systems inside of us and parts and things going on. And you want to give those parts the best food to survive. So yeah, historically, a lot of times, food was considered the best cure for things and preventative medicine rather than just taking drugs to cure everything. A lot can be done with just eating the right nutrients and the right food. So, yeah, can you still eat your bacon? Sure, and your eggs, that's fine. But remember that the most important thing is you eat your delicious veggies too. And potatoes are great. Potatoes are full of nutrients. You just have to ask the Irish about that. They love their potatoes, and potatoes have fed them very well. And yeah, sauerkraut and all sorts of delicious things. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the little video. I hope that you had fun watching this today and that you learned some good stuff. So I'm going to post some questions for you to deal with, and that'll be fun. So what you're going to have to do is look at some different boxes and compare their nutritional values. So on each box, you've probably noticed this before. I remember when I was a kid, I used to kind of read what was on the cereal box in the morning. I mean, we didn't have much TV when I was growing up too much, but yeah, so I just sat at the thing looking at the cereal box in the morning. Anyways, guys, I'll post that up for you on the general outline, and I hope you enjoyed. Ciao, ciao.